Hello, and welcome back to Abiding in the Secret Place. This is Dr. Natalie Lenore Blackman, and I am sitting in my favorite swing on my little patio this beautiful day, and I'm still in my loungewear, so you will see some lovely thumbnails or some lovely pictures that I will put up that were from this morning. And the reason why I put these pictures up is because the Father reminded me of what it's like again to be in that secret place with Him and what it looks like visually. And I wanted to go over that again and just talk about the aspects of the secret place, the importance of the secret place, and why we want to be in the secret place. And if you can see in the thumbnail, my daughter and I are enjoying a lovely brunch with a tray and juice and she wanted pancakes this morning, so we did gluten-free pancakes and chicken sausage and some eggs. And what I wanted to talk a little bit about, and we'll get into that, is how the Father put all of that together for me yesterday, and I didn't even know it, okay? So He already knew what He wanted me to do today, and He wanted me to enjoy it with my daughter, obviously before I did. And so the secret place is getting into alignment with Him so that He lays out our days. And in doing so, we walk in an atmosphere of heaven. Now, when you're younger, that may not sound like fun, like at least to me it didn't. That was not anywhere in my mind. I was very chaotic, and I enjoyed the chaos, okay? But as an adult, as a mother, as a business owner, as someone that just survived 2020 and 2021, there is nothing more appealing to me than being in the secret place. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that and how He had me sheltered in that secret place during 2020 before I even would recognize it. And then we'll talk a little bit about yesterday on how He had me get all of these little elements together, and I didn't even put the picture together. And so the frequency of heaven, right? We talked about the atmosphere of heaven, and those are the fruits of the Spirit. And I'm just going to read those out again. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Now, those sound wonderful to me, okay? That is a perfect atmosphere in my mind. That's where I want to live. And in order to get there, we have to know that that's what we want, okay? So we're not going to be able to hide out in the secret place if our heart's desire is not for the atmosphere of heaven. And I just want to give a little bit more insight into that atmosphere of heaven and what it is like. So let's talk about right before 2020 happened. I did not know what was coming, right? I had no idea. And I may have mentioned this, but I surely would have never imagined that a virus would take the entire globe down. Me being a germaphobe, I would have thought E. coli maybe, but not a virus, okay? And so that overwhelmed me, but which is part of why God's asked me to do this, because my irritation and frustration that came with that was a fruit in me, and that fruit was, I was disappointed in the fact that our world was so oblivious to the secret place of the Father and how He protects us and how He is not the author of destruction and how He wants us to be taken care of during times of disease or famine or chaos or war, whatever it is, His desire is for us to be in the secret place. Okay, so my harvest was of irritation and frustration, and so He asked me to do something about that, and that's even if I just educate a few people that come into my office through this teaching, then so be it, but I'm doing my part. Okay, so what is that secret place, and what did it look like before and during 2020? 1 week, it was exactly 1 week before everything came out about COVID. People were calling into our clinic left and right with being sick, couldn't make their appointments, saying it's the worst flu they've had, but they went and were flu tested and it wasn't the flu, and we just were not shocked by any of that, but we were just like, wow, that's very odd, because it seemed to happen sequentially through different people, and then friends would tell us the same thing, or, distant family members would have the same complaint, but no one really knew we were dealing with COVID, and no one really knew that we're about to go into a lockdown, but God did. Okay. And so my Wednesdays that I am off, one Wednesday, He said, clear as day to my spirit, I want you to go and get everything you need. And I actually don't do a lot of store shopping. I buy a lot of things through Amazon, but it's very rare that I go to the grocery store. And so I said, okay, Father, what does that look like? Like, where do you want me to go? I always ask Him, where do you want me to go? And He will lead me every day that I am out and about. I always ask the Father to show me where He wants me to go. And so that day I asked Him to show me. And He took me to Target, and He took me to Publix, and there was a third store. I'm kind of drawing a blank, but I was going through the store and just asking Him, what is it that you want me to buy? And I never know. Like, it may be for someone else, right? And so I was just being obedient. And as I'm going through, He's like, buy extra paper towels and toilet paper. And I didn't know these were going to be hot commodities. and buy extra food. And I'm walking through the store, and I'm just buying everything. I'll never forget, because I went to 3 stores, and I spent a lot of money that day, like way more than I would normally ever spend on stuff like that. And so it was just like, get this, get that, get this. And so when you're in the secret place, you're in communion, okay? You're in communion. You're talking with all the time the Father. You're always talking with Him. And so I come home. Bo is completely baffled on why I went on this ridiculous shopping spree for home goods or whatever, we don't do Costco. I mean, we used to, but it was just too much. We don't like to have that much bulky stuff, we're just not like that. And so, we don't like a lot of stuff. And He's like, what is going on? And I was like, I don't know. God just told me to do all of this today. So I called my family that's very close to me, and I said, I'm going to tell you that God told me to buy all of these things today. And I'm just going to tell you, if I were you, I would go and buy all of these things too. And of course, they laugh at me like they always do, like, okay, like, yeah, not taking me seriously, but God is very serious, and like I talked about with the timing window, when He says to do something, He knows our personality. He may tell us to do something a year before it's necessary, or He may tell us to do something 1 day before it's necessary. But when He speaks to our heart in that secret place, you learn to obey, and it's because He knows, okay? And God knows I do not like chaos. I do not like to stand in a line at the grocery store. I do not like traffic on the road when I drive. And so I plan my life according to those things, because those situations make me feel chaotic. They make me feel strifeful. I feel tension in the atmosphere. I get frustrated. Honestly, I'm impatient. I don't like to wait in those lines. And so if I know myself, and if God knows me, He's going to help me establish boundaries that keep the chaos out of my life. Okay? Because that's where I thrive. That's where I minister to others. That's where I speak out from my heart to someone else what they need. Or that's where I give to someone else when they're in trouble. When I'm outside of my frustrations, irritations, and impatience, okay? So those things are human nature. And yes, my ultimate goal would be to never have those in my life, which is why we're working on the garden. But as I've said before, I've been working on this garden for 10 years, okay? So you don't want to have, false expectations, okay? So false expectations comes from when we do not know ourselves. And God knows us better than we know ourselves. And so in that expectation, He said, I know what you don't like. I know what you don't do well with. I'm going to go ahead and tell you how to get ahead of it, okay? So what happens? A few days later, they release the COVID information on the news and that there's likely going to be a lockdown, and people rushed the stores. And I mean, it looked like, Black Friday. Like people were sharing videos of people running each other over and busting through the doors of places in Walmart and trampling each other and all this craziness. And I was sitting at home with a table prepared before me, right, by my Father. Every single thing I needed was there, okay? Did my family have to go get in that? Yes, they did. But thank goodness they went the second they heard the alarm, because they remembered what I had told them. So they were able to beat the trampling and the sort of craziness. But to some, that may seem like an insignificant part of the secret place, but it is the most important part of the secret place, because there will be more pestilences, there will be more traumas, there will be more wars taking place. And if we don't learn how to be in the secret place now, then we won't be able to handle what's coming. But once you learn how to get into the secret place now, then no matter what comes, you don't have to fear. You don't have to have anxiety. You don't even have to worry, because you know your Father knows you better than you know yourself, and He will see to it that you have everything you need in your time. In your time, for your family, for you, for your business, for your children. That is a huge factor in the secret place. So I will touch on some more on that subject in just a minute.